So good afternoon students. Now we are going to discuss about the topic of electronic circuits. In this, so I'm Lavanya, the assistant professor of ECE department. So now we are going to see about the feedback amplifiers. So what are the feedback amplifiers? What it is? So what is feedback? So amount of part of the output is injected to the input. It is called feedback. So what is feedback amplifier? So amount of signal to be sampled and get back to the input. It is called the feedback amplifiers. So what are the feedback amplifiers is to be classified so far. The first is going to the definition of feedback amplifiers. Next is the classification of basic amplifiers. Amplifiers it going to be the either maybe a feedback or without feedback. Then the basic concept of feedback circuit. So now we are going to discuss about the definition of feedback. So what is feedback? So amount of output signal is fed back to the input, that is called feedback. So in case of amplifier, the principal operates in the feedback to the corresponding amplifier is called as feedback amplifier. So next one is classification of amplifier. The first one is voltage amplifier, next one is current amplifier, the third one is transconductance amplifier, final one is transresistance amplifier. The first voltage amplifier, the output voltage is directly proportional to the input voltage. Okay, it does not depends on the magnitude of source and load resistance. So in case of current amplifier, the output current is directly proportional to the input current or signal current. So in case of transconductance amplifier, so is an amplifier, the output current is directly proportional to the input voltage or signal voltage. Okay, it depends, is independent of magnitude of source and load resistance. The final one is transresistance amplifier. It comes under the output voltage is directly proportional to the signal current or input current. So it depends on the magnitude of source and load resistance. So first one is amplifier without feedback. So amplifier without feedback, here you are giving the input signal to the amplifier, taking the output from the right side of the corresponding block. Here no feedback to the input. This is called as amplifier without feedback circuit. The gain of the corresponding amplifier which is equal to V0 by Vi. V0 stands for output voltage divided by Vi stands for input voltage. So next one is the circuit belongs to the amplifier with the feedback. So with feedback circuit consists of source, input, amplifier, feedback network and then output circuit. These are the circuit. Here the output is fed back to the input circuit, then it is named as an amplifier with feedback. So this gain can be calculated which is equal to V0 by Vs. V0 stands for output voltage divided by Vs stands for source voltage. So next one is basic concept of feedback. So basic concept of feedback blocks contains the first one is signal source, next one is comparator or mixture network, the third block is basic amplifier block, then final block is sampling network with its connected to the load resistance. Then it is fed back to the corresponding comparator or mixture circuit. Here the signal sources are, it may be a source voltage or current voltage. So feedback network contains the components or parameters, thus all resistor, capacitor, inductor. Okay, next one is sampling network. So sampling networks, the sample the signals at a definite time. Okay, it consists of comparator mixture circuit consists of two connections. One is series input connections, other one is shunt input connections. Next, the sampling network signal fed back to the reverse transmission of to the corresponding mixture or comparator network. So basic concept of feedback. So one is input side and other one is output side. So output side fed back to the input network to the source by using comparator or mixture circuit. This is the feedback concept. Next type of feedbacks. So types of feedback in this: positive feedback, next one is negative feedback. So what is positive feedback? So for positive feedback is the signal in phase is called positive feedback. So in case of negative feedback, the phase will be out of phase, that is called negative feedback. So next one is general characteristics of negative feedback amplifier. The first one is stabilization of voltage gain we could improve, then decreasing the output impedance. The negative feedback amplifier is definitely decreasing the output impedance and increasing the input impedance. So decreasing distortion also, there may be a noise level will be reduced in case of negative feedback amplifiers. So next, effect of negative feedback: input and output resistance. So what is input resistance? What is output resistance? So input resistance, we have the series mixing in the input side and so output side. Okay, so input side we have the series mixing in the input resistance, and shunt mixing will decrease the input resistance levels. So in case of output resistance, so sampling levels will be noted. It tends to decrease the output resistance, and current sampling tends to increase the output resistance. So okay, next one is method of identifying the feedbacks. So how to find the different types of topologies in the corresponding method? Here the 4 types of topologies are there. One is series shunt series. So topologies, so corresponding to the input networks, we have the input signal, the feedback signal becomes 0, then it is called voltage sampling. When the signals become 0 in the output loop, when the signals going to be 0 in the output is called voltage sampling. Then the output loop of the feedback signal is going to be 0, then it is called as current sampling. Next one is to find the mixing of networks. So we have to find the first one is sampling network, second one is mixing network. The mixing of networks, the corresponding feedback signal subtracted from the externally applied, what we are giving in the external signal to the corresponding network in the input loop, that is called as series mixing. So next one is the feedback signal subtracted to the exactly externally applied signal to the current in the loop called is an shunt mixing. So thank you.